everybody, and welcome back. I'm Marilena Tarantino from POLI.design, and today I will be moderating the presentation of the Specializing Master in Lighting Design and Technology. Don't forget to write your question in the dedicated chat box. Let me introduce you the speaker of today's presentation, Andrea Siniscalco, Deputy Director. And before leaving the floor to the faculty, I would like to introduce POLI.design new positioning. The claim, Unlock Your Design Energy, means our commitment to recognizing and promote the unique potential and differences of each student. We aim to nurture personal aptitudes and inclinations, offering a supporting environment that empowers students to become professional, ready to assume leadership roles and tackle complex challenging. I leave the floor to Professor.
Thank you very much. We will talk briefly of what the master itself is. Actually, the master is about lighting design, not to be confused with product design for lighting, which is a design of luminaire. The master itself is more oriented towards the design of the illumination of spaces. The illumination of spaces have created wellness and allowed the society to grow in the last years because extending the length of the day and giving much more perception, a better perception of spaces, increasing the safety of certain areas and helping the productivity is in fact one of the main goal, the main topics of designing a good lighting, together with energy saving and improvement in the quality of vision of spaces. What is the goal of the master? The master creates professional that can understand the physical basis of the lighting, so all the physical related subjects and apply them into new technologies and into new ways of designing for common spaces. Places that can be hospitality, can be spaces for commercial activities, spaces for cultural heritage, and so on. The master is divided in thematic modules, 10 of them. Some are theoretical, some are more practical, so dedicated to design. And then there is also a training that must be done by the students at the end of the teaching modules. The starting date is in December 2024. These 10 modules are lighting, theory of lighting, lighting engineering, connected lighting, an introduction to lighting design, and then we start with the more practical design approach, the more practical modules that are called project works. The first one is CAD and BIM for lighting. Then you have hospitality, exteriors, cultural heritage, and retail. And after that, there are some modules that allow the students to, together during the entire length of the master. There are modules that are meant to empower the capability of the students to confront with the world of work in terms of creation of their CVs and getting ready to the internship phase. So the first module is one of the most important in terms of culture, because it is the theory of lighting. Light is a phenomenon that is so common that generally is very underestimated, especially in those countries where there is a lot of natural light. The design of artificial light sometimes fall under normal circumstances. Some people doesn't even understand that there is the necessity of designing a good light. But like in the image present here in the presentation, which is Buckingham Palace, Tadao Ando say that primarily it is light which brings material to life and gives architecture its form. A single beam of light allows for a surface to express itself and creates shadows behind the object. Designing with light is not just designing with light, but also understanding where there is the need of subtraction from light to shadow, the ability of making some things more visible than others, the concept of threshold. So when I pass from light to darkness, how do I do that? And apply that to a 3D object, like what you see inside of a facade, can be very important in terms of perception and valorization of the good. Imagine this facade, instead of being illuminated from very close, like it is, being illuminated with beams that comes from the front, everything would be flattened, and so you will not have this perception of shadow and shapes, and everything will be different. I'm not saying wrong, because sometimes also the other types of illumination can be good as well, but it is important to understand where and when you have to put light, to put emphasis on some things. Then you have lighting engineering, because lighting is true that is a very powerful mean of communication, and that express feelings and emotions, and also that improves our physiology. It can help us from a physiological point of view, but it is also a physical quantity that can be measured. And measuring light depends on what you are taking in account. If you are measuring light in relation to the observer, if you are measuring light in relation to the surfaces, if you are measuring light in relation to the light sources. So in the lighting engineering model, we will do a little bit of math, because it's a very technical master. And the first part, I'll provide the students with the tools to better master the light once they understand how light actually works. Connected lighting is a module that is related to the new technologies. Since the LED revolution, light has become digital. So things that were impossible just 20 years ago today are absolutely normal and encouraged. And we can save energy, we can improve the quality, we can harvest daylight, balancing with the artificial light, with the use of dynamic lighting, control protocols, and all the information that come from the digital world, from the IoT, so the Internet of Things, and we can empower places not just with the light, but also with digital data. So basically, we can control every single light source in our scene. Even the smallest one behind the smallest product can be controlled with the use of electronic controls. Then an introduction to lighting design, in which we will talk a little bit of the emotional impact and the show, the live stage, and what we can steal by the showbiz and put it into practice. Even if the master itself is much more related to lighting for architecture, lighting for engineering, it is also important to understand that light is coming before the architectural lighting from the traditional Greek theaters, from the shows, and the emotions are coming directly from there. So we will also see what we can do on the side of live stage and the technology for the shows. Then there are many project ways. Start from the use of CAD for lighting. As you can see there, there are many tools that can allow you to better understand from a metric point of view how to use light, because sometimes pictures are deceiving the eye of the observer. So people just say that there is a good lighting or a bad lighting just taking a look at the picture, but the picture can be overexposed, underexposed. So the use of technologies like the CAD for lighting can help people to better describe their project, because numbers don't lie, but there are some non-photorealistic ways also to represent the project. Then the project works are group activity in which the student will begin also from a teamwork point of view and a professional point of view. They will become like small studios to us. They will have to do projects for their clients that basically they will be the professor. The professor will give them case studies, they will introduce the subject, the problematics, teach them about how to tackle the activities for that specific field, and then the students will go back and forth and have revisions with the teachers. This project works will be in hospitality, and with hospitality we mean all the places that can host people, starting from hotels, hospitals, cruise ships, whatever will be the case. The term of hospitality is the most important topic. Then cultural heritage, especially in a country like Italy that is rich of cultural heritage. There is the necessity of putting emphasis on that and give value to the appearance of these facades. Then also retail stores. That can be classic retail stores such as jewelries, toy stores, clothes stores, but also more particular elements such as technological centers like the one that we do sometimes see inside of the master, and also lighting for urban environment. With urban environment, we don't mean exactly the road lighting, because that is a much more technical field that will be tackled during the lighting engineering module and during the CAD for lighting module. But urban environment, we mean putting emphasis and valorization on exterior places, because the lighting in interior and in exterior is completely different. So in interiors you can rely a lot on indirect lighting. The power implied is much more, it's lower, the amount of light is much more than in exteriors, but also from a perceptive point of view, lighting in exteriors is completely different than lighting in interiors. Length of the shadows, position of the luminances inside of the scene. So the perception of spaces is completely different. So we have also a project work in exterior lighting. What is a lighting designer? The lighting designer is the figure that we try to create with this master. And it's innovative because it's, I don't want to say brand new, but the figure of lighting designer intended as in the modern concept became more or less in the 50s, but then now with the new technology has become much more complex and much more specialized. So we can create someone that plays himself inside of studios, inside of manufacturers, inside of resident spaces like theaters or laboratories, and professionals that can manage lighting in various spaces. Why you should apply to a lighting design master like this? As I said, in the various models we will learn how to measure and use lighting in terms of quantity. Yes, there are softwares that can help you do that. The problem with software is that the software is just a tool. It's not the designer. Sometimes people say that, think that just opening up a software and putting down some luminaires and trial and error can help you to create a lighting project. But the difference with the lighting designer is that the lighting designer already knows where to place the luminaires to get the maximum effect from this positioning, from these luminaires. Then you will learn what are the skills that you need. The figure of the lighting design is a very broad field. It goes from medical aspects, from physiological aspects, psychological aspects, artistic, architecture, engineering. Really, it's big. And to be honest, the master will put you in the condition to enter the world of work, but will not make you an absolute expert in the field. Like, I'm doing this master, I'm working in this field since 1997, and still I don't know a lot of things, because as much as you can think that it's a normal job to designing light, there is a lot to ponder when you are doing lighting design. And what we are trying to do is not to make you paint with light. Another frequent misunderstanding that people that approach lighting design is that they think that they just will use color and lights to express themselves into a beautiful way, which is true, actually. But the difference between saying a beautiful picture and understanding what you have to do to get that beautiful picture is exactly the difference from someone that want to do lighting design and an actual lighting designer. So what we are going to do is to give you the tools to express your creativity in order to create the wow effect in people looking at your projects, and also being able to do that while satisfying all the technical requirements, the standards, because lighting is also a field that is full of standards and laws that need to be fulfilled in order to win a tender, to illuminate a public space, to illuminate something in a safe way, so that people don't harm themselves while working, or to help them to have a better way to approach their job. Imagine how it is to go and work into a nuclear power plant or an hypogean space like the operating room inside of an hospital that are all without natural light. So people stay there for a large amount of hours and don't even have the feeling of the time passing. With light, we can help them not just to understanding the time that is passing, but also helping them not to fall asleep and feel better, because that's what light does, make us feel better. We evolved under light, so why not to pay attention when designing it? As I said, it's very common. Everybody experiences light every time they opens their eyes. The problem is that the light that you experience when you are looking outside is natural, so you are naturally used to that. When you are in a artificial light context, if the light is not well designed, you immediately see if something is not good enough. This is very common in northern country, as I said, because they don't have a lot of light. So for them it's very important to design artificial lighting in a good way. But the truth is that it's very important also here, where there is a lot of light, or also in country where there is a lot of light. Because with light you can completely change the perception of spaces, you can change the perception of products, and it is because of that very important to have an idea on what to do when designing light. So I think that I can leave it for
the presentation. To take part in the selection process by scanning the QR code, you can access the Specializing Master webpage. You can click on the Apply button, create your account, and then you can upload all the required documents. Once your account is created, you can save and complete the application later. Please remember that application will be processed in chronological order until the spots are filled. These are also the indication for the deadline, so please don't wait until the last minute to apply. And the next presentation and recruiting day is scheduled on June 24 at 1 p.m. So you can scan the QR code that is in the next slide, and you can fill in the registration form. By visiting our specializing master page, you also have the chance to discover our promotional policy, our commitment to support your study path at POLI.design and your future. Now we can move to the Q&A session, and I see that in the chat box there are some questions. The first one is: are there any skills that candidates should have to pass the selections and be admitted? Software, for example?
The master itself is a first level degree. So from a lighting point of view, we will start from scratches. The point is that expressing light and representing light requires some skills. So we generally encourage students to come with at least some softwares that can be already be familiar, such as Photoshop for the part of the photo retouching and raster images, AutoCAD or similar. Obviously, I'm not making a commercial for the companies that produce this software, and a 3D software of your choice. Because representing light is also for representing light is also necessary to representing spaces, and because of that, these are the software. Another thing that might help in refreshing, because before coming, is trigonometry. So sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, Pythagoras theorem. The base trigonometry is like the base language for illuminating engineering. That's one of the first subjects that you will meet. And it's easy if you already understand a little of these things, if you remember them from high school, in order to apply. It might help.
I have another question. Is there a test to be admitted in the master, a technical exam or something like that?
No, there is a selection interview that we will do, and we will evaluate the material that is submitted, and then we will have an interview in English with the candidate. And after this interview, you will basically understand if you are. But generally, when we speak to candidates, we understand each other and understand if the master is what they actually are looking for.
Another question, will there be company visits and external activities, or everything will take place at Politecnico di Milano?
There might be. Generally, there are at least some visit to companies, to studios, or to places like in few days, the actual batch of the master, which is the 22, yes, will go and have to Palazzo Moroni and take a measurement on spot, because it will be the case study for the cultural heritage module. So they will go there with teacher and make measurements. Or it happens to go and visit companies, or if you are not going to visit the companies are coming and presenting their product, their approach. Because the companies and studios are potential places in which you will do the internship. And also they are a big part in the creation of the program of the master, because the program of the master has been refined through years, starting from its very first edition in 2004, if I remember correctly. We started step by step working with companies and the world of work to select the notions that are more important to immediately get access to the world of work.
So thank you. Just last thing, if we can go on with the slide There is the last slide, okay. So you can scan this QR code and to join and to book your appointment for the recruiting day. So you can scan this code and fill in the registration form. So thanks, Professor, for being here today for this presentation. And stay connected to find out more about POLI.design and our services.